So most people don't realize just how deeply people-pleasing can impact their lives. It affects your health, it shapes your relationships, it erodes your self-trust and your trust in others. And over time, it disconnects you from who you really are. In my last video, I shared what people-pleasing really is. It's not just about being nice, but a deeply wired survival strategy that your system learned when being fully yourself didn't feel safe. If you haven't seen that one, I'll link it below. Today, we're talking about the hidden costs of people-pleasing, the way it impacts your nervous system, your relationships, your sense of self, and your ability to feel peace, joy, and real connection. Hi, I'm Callie Sorensen. I work with people who are tired of overfunctioning, people-pleasing, and losing themselves in relationships and want a way back to themselves. This is part of a series on people-pleasing, so if you want to keep following along, hit subscribe. One of the most overlooked parts of people-pleasing is how it impacts your nervous system, and through it, your entire body. When you're constantly scanning for how to make others feel comfortable, or how to avoid conflict, or how to not be too much, your body never truly rests. It's like living with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. That kind of internal tension takes a toll, even if it's subtle at first. So here's how it can show up. Maybe you feel like you're walking on eggshells in your relationships, or constant hypervigilance can lead to burnout, adrenal fatigue, and disrupted sleep. Suppressed anger often gets stored in the body, showing up as fatigue, resentment, or inflammation. You may feel tired all the time, but wired underneath. You can feel anxiety, depression, or maybe your body always feels just a little on edge, even when nothing is actually wrong. This is your system running a survival strategy on loop, and it's exhausting. So if you've been telling yourself, I'm just stressed out, or I need to push through this, I want you to know it's not just about stress. It's about your body never getting to fully exhale. People-pleasing doesn't just wear you down emotionally, it fragments your nervous system's ability to regulate. And the longer it goes unchecked, the more your body and health can start to carry the cost. The effects of people-pleasing doesn't just stop at the body. It runs deep into how you think, feel, and relate to yourself. Over time, it impacts your mind, emotions, and your sense of identity in ways that are easy to miss, but really hard to live with. Here's a few examples of how it can show up. You feel confused about what you feel, what you want, what you need, because you've spent so long focusing on what everyone else feels and needs from you. You replay conversations in your head, wondering, did I upset them? Should I have said things differently? You feel guilt or shame for even having needs, let alone expressing them. You second-guess yourself constantly, overthinking simple decisions. You notice a growing sense of chronic guilt, indecision, or low confidence, and eventually you stop asking, what is it that I want? Because the only question that seems to matter is, what do they need from me right now? This is where people-pleasing becomes more than just a habit. It becomes a form of self-abandonment, so normalized that you don't even realize that it's happening. You lose touch with your intuition. You hesitate before speaking, before acting, before even feeling. It's not because you're weak. It's because your system has learned that being yourself might come at a cost. And that's the heartbreak of it. The more that you try to protect connection, the more disconnected you become from yourself and from others. Next, we're going to take a look at how people-pleasing can create relationship damage. So even though people-pleasing can begin with the best of intentions, such as maybe you want peace, you want harmony, you want to be loved, you want to care for others and have them feel love, over time, those good intentions can create emotional distance, resentment, and disconnection in the very relationships you're trying to protect. This can happen when you don't speak up about how you really feel. People only know the version of you that's agreeable, not the one who's real and authentic. You want deep, fulfilling connection, but stay on the surface because intimacy requires truth, and the truth can feel so risky. You say yes when you mean no, or stay silent when something hurts. Over time, this can build resentment and emotional exhaustion. You can attract people who expect you to overgive, fix, or accommodate, and you end up in codependent, unhealthy, or even narcissistic dynamics. You teach others without even realizing it that you don't have boundaries, so they walk all over you. And the most painful part, you're never fully met because you're never fully seen, because you're not fully showing up as you. People-pleasing doesn't preserve connection, it prevents it. Connection is built on performance, appeasement, or self-abandonment, which can't create the intimacy that you are really craving. True intimacy requires truth, and people-pleasing just keeps you in a pattern of hiding your truth in order to stay safe. So even though it's meant to protect love, people-pleasing often erodes the very love that you're trying to keep. And last of all, let's look at how people-pleasing can create an identity loss and emotional numbness. Over time, people-pleasing doesn't just wear down your energy, it starts to erode your sense of self. Here's a few examples of how that could look. You don't know what you need because your focus has always been on what others need from you. You can't tell what you feel because you've spent so long managing everybody else's emotions and how they feel. You don't know how to set boundaries because you were never taught that it was safe or acceptable to have them. You lose touch with your desires, your intuition, your creativity, because everything inside you has been shaped by how to be acceptable, not authentic. You feel emotionally flat, burned out, or numb, like you're just going through the motions. You start to feel like you're living your life for everybody else. You start to feel a lot of resentment for others. The longer you perform who others want you to be, the harder it becomes to remember who you actually are. And what's heartbreaking is that you may look like you have it all together on the outside, but inside you feel disconnected, unseen, and maybe even invisible. And sometimes the disconnection can go so deep that you stop even knowing what you even feel like. But that part of you, the one who knows, who feels, who wants, they are never gone. They are just buried beneath the habit of surviving, the conditioning, in hopes to maintain that bond and connection with others. So seeing all of these consequences and naming the costs is the very first step. So let this not just be a call out, but let it be a wake-up call. The cost of people-pleasing is real, but naming it is a form of reclaiming, because once you can see it, you can start to shift it gently, consciously, and with support. People-pleasing can be so woven into how we live and relate that we don't always recognize that it's happening. It becomes so automatic, just part of how we move through the world. And because of that, we don't always realize the toll that it's taking on ourselves. So this is where I invite you to take a pause and really ask yourself, where has this pattern shown up in your life? What has it cost you emotionally, physically, relationally? And feel free to share your answers or ask questions in the comment section below. It's important to realize that the first step isn't to fix or force a change. It's just to see it, to grow on that awareness, to name it, and to begin to gently owning that this is a pattern that you've learned, likely for good reasons to try and protect you, but one that might no longer be serving you. And when you can start seeing it very clearly without shame, that's when real change becomes possible. That's when you can start choosing something different. So if this video resonated with you, make sure that you're subscribed. This is part of my series on people pleasing, and there's so much more to explore. And if you're ready to begin unhooking from this pattern now, I've created a free resource to help you take those first steps. You can download it below or book a one-on-one session with me if you'd like deeper personalized support. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them and tag me. I'd love to support you. Thank you for being here and for being willing to examine something so many people spend their whole lives avoiding. And just as a reminder, your feelings are not too much. You're allowed to have feelings, you're allowed to have needs, and you're allowed to begin again on your own terms and find and create relationships that love you for being authentically you. I'll see you in the next video.